Yeah, let me welcome everyone. So, guys, I'm super happy to see you on this meeting. And we have today with us Roman Krutovoy. And some of you already know him from the previous streams. But as you can see, this is going to be like a regular talk about the documentation and what would be. Sometimes it's going to be just talk around the documentation and some topics around it. But also, we are going to answer questions. Here's the place where if you find any issue on the documentation website, if you're ready to give some feedback, if you think there's ways to improve the documentation, we are very, very, very welcome to see you on these meetings. And here we use them to improve. We use them to improve. So, Roman, how are you doing? What's new there with documentation and stuff?
Oh, we have reworked the validators part of documentation. However, I think that why the documentation is necessary, because it covers the most popular, the most hot questions in community. So you don't need to ask them again and again in chat. So it's not about documentation, it's more about problems of developers and issues you have. So the
And
most important thing on which I want to focus on your questions. If you tried to ask in chat and didn't find answer there, or even on non-answers, you have opportunity here to say that, oh, I have a problem with that, or with those things. I need such examples. I will be happy to help with this. Yeah, thank you.
so, anybody got some question that he had encountered an issue with while using documentation?
Yeah, feel free to write your questions in the chat if you can't speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I start?
Sure.
Sure.
Great, thank you. Actually, I have three questions. The first one is what's the difference between the inline and inline ref specifier?
Wow. It's more about fancy. Marco, could you help with so deep question?
Yeah, I might need a little bit more details because I'm not sure. I should program more. So let's I will just share my screen, and Roman, we will have a live case for you where I'm going to
Oh,
say this answer. So you mean like inline and inline refs?
oh,
Uh,
it's already covered.
Yeah, so basically, you have a Func function. It gets its own ID stored in a separate leaf of ID function dictionary. And when you call it somewhere in the program, a search of function in dictionary and subsequent jump occur. Okay, such behavior is justified and your function is called from many places in the code, and thus jumps allow to decrease the code size. Okay, however, if the function is only used once or twice, it's often much cheaper to declare this function as inline or inline ref. So inline modification places the body of the function right into the code of the parent function, while inline ref places the function code in the reference. So basically, if you are specifying some function that could be used like inline when you are actually building, for example, you specify a function. I will stop sharing. Yeah, this is great. That first of all, we have the answer on documentation, which is cool, and maybe we should promote this feature of search, and maybe this should be maybe accented more, like this search navigation bar, because sometimes I have to hint guys where they can use it. So basically, what is the difference between inline and inline ref? As because I used to use inline, and for example, if you define this specificator, is it called specificator actually? Modifier, yeah. It means that your code, like the code of your function, will be actually put into the body of code of like the function where it's used. So for example, it's going to be all compiled like into assembler first, and you can see the assembly code that, for example, you define some function and you decide the inline modifier. So wherever it is used, you actually put this code there at the moment it gets compiled. And if you use the inline ref, then rather than holding this code in the assembly moment, rather than having this code in there, you would actually store a reference to where it's stored, So it's like inline ref is like not that inline because inline actually means that you actually put the code, once you compile it, you put the code in the right place and it will be executed there immediately. So basically, if you run it 3 times, it's probably going to just be 3 times in the code. So you would use inline ref to actually optimize it in a way. Especially that's how I understand it. And I think for general understanding, this is quite close to what you would need to do, Chatur. Does it make sense for you?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Roman, so what do you think? How can we improve this part? I start thinking, so maybe we should use ChatGPT to rephrase some of those, Let's play around it.
Right. It's a good idea.
ChatGPT, it's not. I think when I asked him about Func, he didn't know about Func, so I get confused.
Right. Yeah. Maybe we will use ChatGPT of next version, not GPT-3, but GPT-4 or 5. So in the future.
Or we should start teaching ChatGPT, guys.
With Func.
Yeah, it does learn stuff,
Yeah. I think it's a good idea to improve the search part. So on the main page of documentation, you will see like you use Control K for quick search. It will help a lot for everyone. I hope it will. So yeah, that's it. Okay, let's go to next question.
Or anybody face some issues that we could handle with maybe documentation or answers?
Yeah, guys, hello, let me try. So we have a lot of Jeton contracts for each user. We have separate Jeton contracts. We want to do the same, but what should we do if we want to update all these contracts? I mean, do we need to store some registry of all created contracts for all users, or what can we do?
Wow.
That's a good question. Roman, it's great. If you want to handle the first part, you can say, and then I have some idea.
I think it's not about onboarding, it's deep dive into TON, and I don't have answer here. So usually I would say, okay, we need telcall here.
No, it's fine. I think telcall is overkill. To use telcall in this case would be overkill. I think I can handle this one, but I have a suggestion, and this is why I value, Roman, that you're with us here, because so we got the question. So first, we kind of, let's say, rephrase it. So as far as I understood the question, you say, we have a lot of contracts, different repositories with contracts that the code differs. Like, how can we have one repository that everyone is using, or what? Did I understand your question right?
No, I mean, if I understand correct, when we talk about Jetons tokens like ERC20, each user have his own contract deployed.
Right.
Yes.
And when I send the Jetons from my contract to you, and you have no token Jeton contract, my contract is deploying this new contract for you. Yes.
Yes.
So
exactly.
So finally, we have I don't know, million of Jeton contracts with the same source code. But what if I need to update all of these contracts with the new code? I made update in original source code. How could I know the addresses and all of the users? Is it possible in general?
It's not possible. It's
Not possible.
And there's a few things why, and these are like, it's important to know these things in the context of TON, because the most important thing, the addresses are going to change. Once you change the code of the contract, the addresses are going to change. And at the moment, I'm not sure how this is going to affect the traceability, like how the explorers are going to treat it. I'm just not sure about details, how they do it. Probably not a big, there's not a big deal, but the thing is, your master contract would need to be changed, because here's the thing. How are you able to deploy a contract by master contract? It is actually having the code inside. You already have the code of the wallet contract inside of your master contract. So basically, if you, let's say, change this code, then for every new wallet, you would get a new, just a clean address. So for example, you changed the code in the the client wallet code inside of the storage. You changed it, and someone new comes and he mints jetons, and he's getting them on the, oh man, it's not possible. I think really it's not possible, because the wallet contract also stores the wallet contracts code. Because here's the thing, if, for example, we have master contract, and then we have a lot of client contracts. So if some client wants to send money to some other client, it doesn't go through Minter. It goes directly. So this wallet contract is also deploying the wallet contract. So this would be a rabbit hole of changing those codes. And I'm just not sure about every possible downside you're gonna get. I would say this is looking not very good. This is not a good idea, I think. And it might be experimentally. I can't claim that it's absolutely impossible. I would say it's a matter to research first, but overall it just doesn't look good, because it's not just feels wrong, you know. But yeah, let's see. Well, the idea I had after these questions was, what if we see we go to documentation and try to see if we could let's go to jetons. So Roman, you can see we have, I just tried type jeton.
Right.
So let's go see all 55 documents found. So we have tutorials.
We have special page for jetons.
How do I find it?
The first one or second one, I think.
This is only the tutorial.
Yes. Okay. Just go to DeFi, and you'll find jetons. Yeah, on the left, DeFi.
On the left.
Dubs, DeFi.
Okay. DeFi development.
Tokens. Right.
Okay. This is interesting.
Yeah, tokens.
Tokens. Yeah, maybe this is why this page is not given like at the top level, because
right. Okay, thank you. I will know that.
If I type jeton, then if I type token, that's exactly what I get, and that's what I would like to get.
Right. Right.
And I very much love that you guys have two different pages: native token and jetons, let's say, because this is important to understand that those are different. How do you like this idea, Roman, that on every question we are kind of going to go and check the documentation on this matter? Because
yeah, sure. It's the first place to check, even for you or me, because it's not possible to store all the knowledge about Func, TON, and all this stuff in one head. It's crazy amount of knowledge.
So, guys, anybody else has some questions?
Also, regarding the jetons, I could add one YouTube video. Maxim I'm not sure. Have you seen it or not already? Here, here is a video. I attached it. It's hosted on Marco's channel. Interview with TON&Co founders, right? Right. About with Oleg Andreev and Oleg Ilarionov.
Oh, I think it's actually different. It's actually a different one. The YouTube channel that you're talking about, it was dropped last week, so we still didn't.
No, I see. I have shared the video.
Really?
Yeah. So Maxim, you can check it.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
Oleg is a crazy guy. Oleg is a crazy guy who explained how Jetons works in TON. So it's not only article, but cool lecture about Jetons.
Yeah, guys, if you don't mind, like and subscribe. I only have 219 followers on YouTube channel. Yeah, maybe anybody else has questions?
I can ask the second question if possible.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking about what are the criterias of splitting the contract to these separate instances. I mean, is it, as if I understood right, this is the storage limits. I mean, if I we are trying to architect a stable coin in the TON, yes. And there are some, for example, bookkeeper contract which stores maybe 10,000 of positions, but it could store also 1 million positions. But I'm afraid if we would split. Would have to split all of the contracts, it would take a lot of time. Maybe I'm talking about a hackathon. Could we use just one contract and split it later? Like what is the strategies and criteria?
Right. Very good question. Very good question.
Yeah. Thanks.
So here we go deep into TON asynchronous architecture. So why do we need sharding? Why do we need splitting all the contracts? Why not use one contract with infinite array? Yeah, like USDT smart contract in Ethereum. Why not using it? The point is that if you will use such approach, you won't scale. So if your stablecoin will use such approach, your stablecoin will be very expensive. Did you see the article from Talcol, how to shard your smart contract and why? I think in this article he wrote the approach. So like if you have some things that should scale infinitely, like users, like you have user has like amount of jetons, user has address, and you have potentially infinity in my amount of users. So you should scale it. You like create smart contract child. And if you have some data that won't scale infinitely, like you have only 10 oracles, or 10 validators for such smart contracts. It's just imagination. So you can just store them in your master smart contract, and that's all.
Okay, and if there are 1 million of contracts, each of them read from this one other master contract. Is there some bottleneck in messaging limits like this? Could I split this store like settings contract? I have one settings contract and 1 million contracts that read from this. Should I split this, or there is no bottleneck and TON do it automatically?
Right. Very good question. Don't do it automatically. In such case, TON won't split your master contract. If I remember right, yeah, it won't split your master contract. But regarding the messages, in one. So on extremum, like on maximum, you will have 1 million users, and potentially you will have like own blockchain, own shard chain, only for your smart contract, because 1 million users will message it. Maybe Eugene with experience from bridges could add some more explanation to it, because I didn't write it, so my answer is like only theoretical.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to invite Sipeja. Maybe for next time I'd like Sipeja to join us
Yeah,
as
would
well.
be nice.
Yeah, okay,
nice.
I'll do that.
But I think it's if I understand your question right, Maxime, you asked like that sharding is the right way. You understand it, right? But you're asking like this is just taking too much time to shard it, because you would have to basically write 2 contracts, and all of your logic would have to be coordinated with each other. So you're asking if such approach would still make you applicable for winning on the hackathon. Is it the right question?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but could it maybe the right approach to write main contracts without sharding for fast prototyping like this, and do sharding later when we go prod?
I would say if I would have to make a decision personally, I would try to understand, is my prototype going to be cool enough that Tal will ignore the fact that you guys are not sharding? If yes, then I would go for it, because it saves time indeed. Like I had to make similar decision recently. I mentor one project and I kind of invest in them too. And I like the guys were actually trying to make it fast. Like they wanted to do a prototype to see things fast, but I realized that I can, let's say, as soon as I'm funding them, I don't want to run with this project. I don't want to run for some profits from the from Fedora hacks. So basically, for me, to make it sustainable, it makes sense to actually make it sharded like from scratch, because I don't even think that in classic go-to-market strategy, sharding sharding could be postponed, because this is 2 completely different models. You got to launch with sharding, because this helps you to calculate how expensive is your model. Because if you are going to first launch prototype, it will give you 0 information about how expensive your tool is, because once you launch the real one, it would have to be completely differently structured. So like the standard go-to-market strategy for me would be go ahead with sharding. It's not that scary as it seems in the beginning, and I'm quite sure about that because I've done it. And one great news is that in Tact, and we all waiting for Tact, and Roman, let's make like a minute of Tact where you share some insight. So in Tact, this is done automatically for you. You don't have to actually shard it. So basically, in Tact, there's such constructions that are compiling into sharded contracts. So this is good news, right? So
yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So just hand up one who wants to receive a special link to the secret Hello World tutorial on Tact. Just hand up. Yeah, I will share a link if needed. But if no one will hand up, so
I want to. Is it different from what you shared last time, or is it the same?
the same.
Okay, but we have different people. So guys, yeah, let's.
Yeah.
You should
Because I could share with you official Tact documentation. Here is it. However, if you want to try our Hello World tutorial and to see how it works, to see how wallet contract looks like in Tact, how Jeton's contract looks like in Tact, you can use second secret link. We will merge it soon, but not yet. So it's kind of secret information.
I have a crazy idea for Maxim. So Tact is not production ready. So if you are writing some stablecoin or some app with Tact, you obviously cannot expect for investment from someone because your code base is not production ready and no one knows when it will be, because Tact has a unbounded amount of time that they will use to write a proper compiler. But you will definitely impress Tal. So basically, if we talk, because Tal is personally working on Tact as well. And I would say if you are making your prototype that is really functionable with Tact, man, you should put accent on it that say, guys, I know that it's not production ready, but I want to build this tool so it would be a proof of concept of that how cool Tact is already, you know. And I think you would get a lot of support from Tal as well if you are actually, let's say, put it right way for him.
Okay, Maxim, special link for you with explaining how of Jeton contract in Tact. Special link.
These sessions are becoming more and more inside.
The only problem is that it doesn't open.
Really?
My computer, at least, yeah.
Let's try.
For me, it's working.
For me, it works.
Works. Yeah, maybe this is my strange type provider. It doesn't like Versal, I know, because of some certificate. Okay, I will try with VPN. Not like this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Not working with me.
For you too?
Maybe it's not working in like Russians.
Yeah, but it's like hidden. No, I'm through VPN Netherlands.
Okay.
Wow, interesting. Secret link is truly secret.
Mm-hmm.
It's open only for special people. Maybe it's because it's a Versal MVP application. I will ask a guy to enable it. Okay.
Open the link. I can see the page if it's the question.
You see it?
Yeah. Jeton contract, digital token issue. I can see the pages.
Okay. It's strange that someone sees it and someone not. Okay. A little bit strange. Okay. I will ask. Thank you. Let's go next.
And I am just, yeah, so for my car it works. So for some it works. Just Maxim, you might just text Roman, and I just want to make sure that you don't miss it out, you know, because I see that it could be a very important move for you.
Yeah, okay, right.
Alrighty. So anybody else has some questions that we could maybe try to solve with help of documentation?
Yeah. So we know that Func is not object-oriented language.
Mm-hmm.
So what if I want to create an object? How I create an object? How, for example, I want to create an object names people that have names and age. So how I can do it?
I will try use documentation right in front of you, because I know what I would use. It's basically dictionary. So let me maybe correct you a bit. So when we talk about object-oriented language, we are talking about manipulating entities with certain methods, parameters, and stuff. And if we talk about storing certain data like a database, this is a very different thing. So basically, yes, we are not able to manipulate entities more than those that are given to us by Func. So let's say variables are given, functions, that's it pretty much if you talk about this kind of entities. So what I would suggest you, probably you're talking about how to store data, not as a line of whatever, but rather as a key value storage in a way. Is it true?
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Let me go to documentation. Oh, this is tag documentation. Yeah, you see, for me, it's working.
Okay.
So basically, let me go to dict. Dictionaries primitives. So let's see in general, like what kind of primitives do we have? It's a good page actually. Let me send to you this stdlib. It's very good for
maybe better cookbook, fancy cookbook with some examples.
Oh, that's a good idea. But
I
first of all,
yeah, sure.
I just go to documentation. So let's say, you see, I don't see fancy cookbook, so I wouldn't know about its existence. So by the way, if you guys need some cool links, let me point you at what we have on TON&Co. We have hot links for devs, and we're going to make even more of those. But here's the fancy cookbook that you could easily follow. Yeah, so this is probably one of the best ways to find it as for now. So let's first see what is dictionary primitives rather than going to cookbook. This is low level, and do not check that the structure of the cell they are applied to matches the operation signature. So basically, applying a dictionary operation to a non-dictionary or applying an operation corresponding to one key length is undefined behavior. So it's better to use it the way it's shown in examples. So let's go to dict. How to determine if dict is empty. So basically, there's a method of dict empty to check the date presence in dict. This method is equivalent to cell null because usually null cell is an empty dictionary. So we are defining a cell that is going to contain a new dictionary. So this is like a builder. So it's building a dictionary. And then we start writing into it. So this is basically a size that we are giving for the value. Here's the key. And basically this way you can store a dictionary, and you can have different operands here that will help you to actually go through the dictionary and check if there is certain value. I'm not sure, like, does this answer your question in general?
Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm asking these questions because
No, it's okay.
I'm new in Fancy and I don't know about such things like this.
Man, it's okay. It's okay. That's exactly why we're hosting those sessions, right, Roman?
Right, sure. It's the best questions.
And
It's
I think, I personally think that we are going to, like, this kind of documentation sessions are more going to be in direction of like, yeah, we're answering questions, but we also go into documentation and see how it looks. But we also have like fancy sessions, and there we would go more closer to the code. And here we would answer some questions, but we wouldn't go and try it on like hands-on, you know. But on fancy lessons, we're going to tend to code more. We're going to try to deploy some contracts, run through some things that are very simple, but some people don't understand them. So this is basically our technical mission. And I want to remind you that twice a week we host a session with like pitches. So you could pitch like open mic. Anybody can come and pitch his project. You can come and pitch your project every time, like, because we are expecting you to get better and better. So you would bring your presentation into the proper mode. So there we're more talking about the business parts and like maybe helping to understand your product market fit and stuff. And here, yeah, more technical. Nick, do you still want to say something?
Yes, cool. I see that Nick already asked the question, when more workchains, right?
Yep.
It's a very good question because workchains are one of clear feature of TON blockchain.
And one of the most mysterious.
So can I ask one more question to this? And can I host, maybe not, maybe it's wrong word. Can I host own
what?
Can I host my workchain in TON blockchain or not?
Right. Yeah, very good question. So yes, you can develop it, and you even can prove that your workchain is cool. It's necessary. It will help. For example, you decide to build your own workchain for like Aptos VM, like Move VM or EVM. You decide to build it by your own hands. Yes. And you build it. What you need to implement it? You need to receive a proof of every validator that he will update his software, and he will use your blockchain with new version of MyTon control. So,
okay, thank you.
However, if you have such idea, just make a paper, maybe yellow paper or white paper, or at least page in Notion. So what you want to do, why you think it's important, and send it to TON Foundation. Maybe you will receive grant. Because it's a very hot question. This year we will see maybe one, maybe more workchains integrated.
You sure? Wow, interesting.
It's a huge work.
Yeah, I just don't know if someone is doing that. I'm not aware of any team actively working on it.
It's still in discussion.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Nice. All right, guys. So
actually, I read some information that makes me a little bit confused, which is we know that everything is a cell, yeah?
Right.
Even the contract is a cell.
No, the contract code is stored as a cell.
It's stored as a cell, yeah?
Yeah.
And the contract contains storage.
Yeah.
So in the storage, it means that at most I can make only 4 cells because the cell reference only for at most 4 cells.
But each of the references could bring another cell, and each of these cells could also have 4 references. So it's basically infinite tree of.
Yeah.
It's not actually infinite. There is a limitation, I think, but it's a crazy big.
Yeah, I'm asking about the limitation.
How many levels it can be?
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Very good. Very interesting. Even for me, it's very interesting. How deep could be the sales tree?
I go to documentation and just type cell.
Yeah, let's go.
So I'm trying to understand, to find here. Maximum limit. No, I cannot see anything like that because I don't know, honestly. Cell. What is cell as data storage? I don't see any information like that. Well, let's say you can count on it. I would say it will be very hard for you to hit this amount because at the moment, especially because as we talked, a lot of decisions in TON are made for the sake of mass adoption and not necessarily like in terms of programming usability. Func is obviously not very usable language for programming, but in terms of what happens once millions of people come, basically, this is why you have no chance to scratch the limit of this cell tree.
I'm not sure that we have such limit. Yes, you need to pay for all this data stored, but I'm not sure that we have such limit. No one have reached it yet, so don't worry about it at all.
Okay.
That's a slightly maybe stupid question, but is the message delivery guaranteed? I mean, if I send from one contract message to another contract, it would be delivered anyway. I'm not talking about bouncing like rewards, but just fact of delivering. Could it lost somewhere?
Marco, do you have answer? I'm not sure that I have such answer. If I remember right, the transactions are not atomic, so because
I don't think it would affect it in any way. It's basically if validator didn't take, like, what are the circumstances that your cell could be at least temporarily locked, or your message could be at least temporarily. I think this is one of the downsides if you're going to create a not sharded contract that is supposed to be sharded. It's one of the reasons why you might have a slower processing time for each transaction, because basically validator will have to treat your whole contract with so many data as a shard, maybe even as a block, I don't know. And basically this is why your message might not appear for some time. But I can't imagine circumstances where it basically doesn't even appears on the account, because it's supposed to appear. If it physically has to appear there. Let's put it that way. If it's valid address.
Yes, you definitely will receive your message. However, it's very important to understand the synchronous nature of smart contracts. So the order, if you have sent many messages and some smart contracts, like you have smart contract A, smart contract B, and smart contract C. So if you have sent your message to smart contract B and to smart contract C, and after that smart contract B will also send message to smart contract C, yeah, it could be strange order. So it's better to always recheck. So it's possible to have situation in which from B to C it came faster than from A to C. It's possible. Here is the article regarding message delivery guarantees. I have shared it in the chat. So yeah, it's one of the good articles, even with pictures, with illustrations. So I'm happy to share it with you. It's not so low level.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Thank you very much, Roman. Thank you so much for these regular sessions. I enjoy them personally. And let's see you guys. Tonight we're going to have speech sessions. So come by, visit, and we'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
So much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, guys.
Ciao,
ciao.
Sorry, can
Bye.
I have a last question?
Okay, sure.
Thank you so much. So I'm used to code in Rust, so and practicing some cross-call functions. I know that we don't call the cross-call functions because there is only messages here. So how I can make cross-call, or how I can call a get method from another smart contract?
It's possible. You cannot run a get method of another contract from your contract. it's an actor model. You're only talking and handling the talk. So the get methods are only made for the off-chain structures that want to read from the contract.
Okay, but I heard some information that said if I know the structure or the type of the returning a message, so I can get the information.
Yeah. So this is how contracts interact. So basically, for example, you write a contract that has to interact with a minter. So with a certain logic, you would send a message to minter to do something, but you would also have to handle how you what would be his answer, and you would have to handle his message. So basically, you would write few handlers inside of the receive internal message, the main handler. You would write a few handlers for each operation, and one of the operations could be the one that you expect to receive, and it comes with data, and then you process something. So it's an actor model. You have to treat it a bit differently. So basically, the answer that you can get from there, you have to know it once you program it.
Okay, okay, thank you. If there is some example or a link to see some such things like that.
Like contracts that
Oh,
are,
yes.
well, what I just told you, it's a basic logic of contracts. Like, did you try the blueprint?
Blueprint, yeah. The tool blueprint, yes, to create.
Yeah, npm create TON.
Yeah.
Oh, if you open it, GitHub TON blueprint. I will send you the repository. Maybe I'll just share my screen. It's a good question, but it's at the very end, so we might want to stay that long, but let's try, because I always make sure that everyone takes the best from this. So I'm going to templates. I would have to, okay, this is blueprint. Maybe not the best idea to use blueprint for that. Let's go to repositories, blueprint, simple distributor. That's a good example contract. So we have contracts, we have distributor. So basically, what happens here? Some crazy car is driving outside. So basically here, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
So basically here, you are, I don't know if you read the contract code before, but this is a good one to read. So you're reading the operation integer. So operation integer, it basically shows you how to handle message. So you would have to handle here what kind of operations will be gotten by your contract. So you can have, for example, operation like question, let's say, operation answer. So you would send a message here that would trigger certain trigger a request, not request, but message. You would have to send them. Okay, let's put it even simpler. In order to talk with different contract from here, you would have to send a message to this contract, right? So basically, if you get a, maybe the best idea would be write a pseudocode. New window, new file. So you can see it, right?
Yes.
I'll just write a pseudocode. This is not the syntax of Func. Else if, oh, you don't even have to do it this way. Probably it will do like this. It it cannot ever be the same. Transfer from third. So, and here you would be ask different. Sorry. So it would be ask different contract. And basically here, so this is your contract. It does nothing. It just stands in the blockchain. Nothing is triggering it. At some point, you want your contract to talk to another contract. And you would send your contract an operation code that would resolve to ask different contracts. So it could be even integer, just 1 or 2. But I'm just putting this for better logic understanding. So you would have to send a message that is triggering operation code, ask different contracts for something. And here you would do send raw message, whatever. You would compose this message. You would put the address of whom, you would put the message value, how much money you put into it, and everything. So you send it, and if answer never comes back, you don't care. Because there's no way for you to control that the answer comes back. But in case the answer comes back, you would have to handle it. So basically, you know whom you sent this, right? To which contract. And you know that if answer comes, it will be coming with this kind of operation code. And you would expect it to be there, and you would write a handler for it. So let's say store value, set data. The data means we are writing into the local storage. Begin cell, something like store uint that you got from.
It means here that you make sure that the function is already done there in the other smart contract.
Sorry, not sure what you mean.
When you do the handling of the answer, here it means you are pretty sure that
yes.
that the function is done there in the other smart contract.
Exactly. It has to be done, because otherwise, if they change something, your handler simply will not work. So for example, you would have to do like var ds. What happens? So you would have to first read some data. So you would have to read from the message, you know. And if they change the operation code that they respond with, or they change whatever, if they change the data structure after the operation code, you're basically screwed, because your contract is not able to handle it anymore.
Okay, thank you so much.
It's okay. I really enjoy to explain things like this. So you see my screen, right? I should somehow stop sharing. Yeah. All right, guys. I hope we can end up on this. We can wrap up. And come again. Bring your friends. This will be cool. If the more people we have here, the better. And I wish everyone a nice day.